Potato.
It's 4 o'clock. The top stories live on 7 News. The brutal assessment on what went wrong at Northern Beaches Hospital. A deadly outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in our CBD. And Lockie Galvin makes a surprise appearance at West Tigers training.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Chris Reason.
Good afternoon. There have been more disturbing developments involving Sydney's Northern Beaches Hospital. It comes as another family speaks out about the loss of a child whose life they claim could have been saved. Chris Marr has more.
Well, a damning report today by the state's auditor into the troubled Northern Beaches Hospital as another Sydney family speaks out about a tragic birth here. The parents of baby Harper Atkinson say in February an obstetrician at the hospital ordered a Category 1 caesarean with both the baby and mum, Leah Pittman, considered at high risk. But the procedure was delayed for an hour, they say, waiting for operating staff. The hospital does not have 24/7 operating theatres. Harper eventually delivered, but her life support was tragically turned off not long after.
If we drove half an hour down the street to Royal North Shore, Harper would be alive.
Today, the auditor has released a report into the hospital revealing its private operator Healthscope approached the government twice in late 2023 seeking to return public components of the facility. At the time, the government refused, today saying it was at too big a cost.
What Healthscope was doing was trying to get us to buy them out at a premium.
After another tragic case at the hospital, the death of 2-year-old Joe Massa, the government is re-looking at the contract, considering a takeover. Today, the Health Minister, Ryan Park, maintains this hospital is under close observation and being held to account for clinical decisions.
It was a terrifying night for the parents of a 3-year-old on the Gold Coast overnight, with an Amber Alert issued by police when he went missing. The boy was taken from a home at Oxenford on the Gold Coast at about 11:30 by a woman believed known to him. The alert was cancelled just after 9:30 this morning. 2 boys, 15 years old, are facing charges today after allegedly stabbing a 16-year-old during a home invasion in Sydney. The pair was part of a group of 8 masked thugs who forced their way into the property, repeatedly stabbed the victim, then fled. Both are expected to face court next month. The Prime Minister and Liberal leader have travelled to Newcastle and Brisbane after failing to produce a knockout blow at last night's leaders' debate. Both left Sydney early to continue campaigning. Political reporter Josh Martin has the details.
It seems a trip to Queensland during this federal election campaign isn't complete without a stop in a brewery or a pub, and the Prime Minister this afternoon has come here to the Paddo chatting to uni students about Labor's plan to cut debts by 20%. The pub the Prime Minister visited is on the border of the seats of Brisbane and Griffith, both held by the Greens and both full of younger voters and students, although most of the students with the Prime Minister this afternoon are from Young Labor.
People save around average $5,500, but for some it's like double digits.
Yeah, so I'll save $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah.
The Liberal leader also focusing on education today in the New South Wales Hunter Valley, chasing a number of marginal Labor seats there.
You think I should stick to my day job?
No comment. Promising to spend $260 million to establish a dozen technical colleges for high school students to learn trades and vocational skills.
We want young Australians to have a choice, and we want them to be able to really achieve everything they can in life.
The wages of early education workers also in the spotlight, with the PM visiting a childcare centre. The Fair Work Commission recommended a 27.8% pay rise in a ruling yesterday. The Prime Minister is not saying whether the government will pay for a wage increase or whether parents will pay through higher fees. Can you guarantee that beyond the next year, though?
Well, what I'm doing is answering questions now about what is happening right now. Not only are we paying early educators more, but we're making sure that families don't pay higher fees.
After a busy day campaigning, the leaders will take it a bit lighter on Good Friday before ramping up again. Early voting opens next Tuesday, so it's really crunch time for the leaders during this campaign.
The state's health minister has been forced to apologise again after his office falsely claimed there had been hundreds of chemotherapy cancellations because of last week's doctors' strike.
I apologise for the mistake that was made from my office. I said as the minister that mistake is on me and I'm accountable.
That number has since been revised down from 486 cancellations to 12. Well, if you've been putting off a trip to the United States, it seems you're not the only one. Our faith in America appears to be fading, and Australians are making their concerns known by boycotting the US. New data revealing a steep decline in tourism. Here's US correspondent Miley Hogan.
Well, this is one of the biggest tourism hotspots in America. Welcome to Hollywood. In this crowd, it's not that hard to spot the Aussie.
We love visiting America, but the Australian dollar is terrible here, so it's very difficult.
It's costing me a fortune, but it's worth it.
But new data appears to show Australians are avoiding the United States as a holiday destination. The US International Trade Administration shows the number of visitors from Australia to the US in March this year plummeted 7% compared to the same time last year. It's the steepest drop since March 2021 at the height of the COVID pandemic.
The exchange rate's $1.60 or something. It makes it completely unaffordable. Europe is expensive as well, but it's not as scary to go to at the moment with all the stuff happening in the States.
It's not just Australians. Overall, overseas arrivals to the United States from all origins dropped 11.6% in March. So, why the decline? Tourism experts say there could be a number of reasons: the exchange rate, the increased cost of living, or the US President Donald Trump. His border crackdown and stories of people being detained or refused entry at the border, or people's phones being seized and social media search has spooked travellers.
We had a very unpleasant incident on the border. The custom officer, he was declining everything that we were saying.
Arrivals from Canada dropped almost 900,000 in March compared to the same time last year. Some say this could be the reason.
Canada should honestly become our 51st state.
Those comments, plus the tariffs, have led to Canadians encouraging each other to boycott the US and travel and spend their money domestically. Businesses here say they've noticed a difference. The decline in tourism here in the United States could cost the tourism industry billions of dollars.
We've been given a special look at the Swans banner for this Sunday's game against Port Adelaide. It's got an important message emphasising road safety this Easter long weekend. Michelle Underhill from the Road Trauma Support Group will toss the coin at the SCG. Amber Laidler joins us now with the latest on Sydney's weather. Amber, some showers about today.
Good afternoon, Chris. Yes, light falls have impacted the Sydney Basin overnight and throughout the day. Since 9 a.m, showers have mostly impacted the northern beaches and the central coast, with some coastal suburbs picking up 10 to 15 millimetres over the past 24 hours. It's been pretty gusty along the coast too. Near gale winds have been recorded on the harbour and also at the airport. Gale force gusts today off Wardamolla. There is a chance we could see more light falls across Sydney this evening, but we are expecting another round of showers early next week. Thankfully, though, that wet weather should hold off in time to allow us to enjoy most of the long weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in your full forecast shortly.
I'll talk then. Thanks, Amber. Well, still to come in Sydney's afternoon news, the new Panthers stadium starts to take shape. What to expect in Penrith. Sydney's new rent report, which suburbs are rising the fastest, and a special anniversary for the Flying Kangaroo.
Big news breaks in every street, in every suburb, every day.
7 News has been sent this exclusive vision.
When you see something Sydney needs to know about, share it with 7 News Sydney on email or text. 7 News Sydney, live at 6.
Battery only $64.91 with New South Wales Government battery incentives.
Call 1300 Sunboost.
When the lucky country isn't so lucky. It's lucky you're with Amy.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Ah, the working life. You wake up, you work, you get paid. You wake up, You work, you get paid. Until one day, you wake up to a whole new rhythm and still get paid. Aware Super helps you find your rhythm of retirement. That's super helpful.
For life's little moments, there is no substitute.
Out on the patio, we'd sit, and the humidity we'd breathe. We'd watch the lightning crack over cane fields, laugh and think, this is Australia. This is Australia.
Colorbond, made by Australia.
A multi-million-dollar upgrade is officially underway to rebuild the home of the Panthers' Penrith Stadium. The $309 million revamp will be a one-stop shop for sport, recreation and entertainment.
You can see from behind us it's long overdue for a redevelopment. It won't just be for rugby league. You'll see open-air concerts in this part of Sydney as a result of this redevelopment.
The Panthers currently playing their home games at CommBank Stadium in Parramatta. Well, it's a special day for Australian flying enthusiasts. 90 years ago today, Qantas took its first international flight. 2 passengers, Brisbane to Singapore, 16 stops. Now, the airline has marked the occasion with a new museum.
From New York to Rome and on London town.
An iconic ad for an iconic Australian brand. Now the airline is marking a new milestone.
Today we're celebrating 90 years since our first international flight, which was from Brisbane to Singapore, and it took about 3.5 days and about 16 stops.
That was on this day in 1935, and since that inaugural flight, the Flying Kangaroo has been a staple of our skies. To mark the occasion, a new museum to showcase the airline's fascinating heritage.
We've got tickets, we've got menus, we've got uniforms, we've got model aeroplanes.
A special tradition for Australia since 1935. More than 270 million passengers have flown internationally with Qantas.
Qantas has been doing that for the past 90 years and is proud to continue to do that into the future.
And no matter where in the world Qantas flies to, Patrick Burns, 7 News.
Well, this year's Royal Easter Show is proving Australia does country better than anyone else. Brianna Jackson caught up earlier today with a country music star who knows that cowboy needs a hat.
The Sydney Royal Easter Show is obviously all about bringing the country to the city, and Akubra have a rich history at the show. They've been a sponsor for 30 years. This year they have their own Akubra stand, and ambassador country music star Lee Kernaghan is here to perform. Lee, how does it feel to be at the Sydney Royal Easter Show?
Oh, it's absolutely epic to be here. This is my first time. It's, for me, coming from Queensland, it's always been the Ekka, but to get down to this, it's gigantic. It's like literally the boys from the bush are back in town big time here in Sydney.
And how do you feel like the Sydney City Slickers are embracing country music in the country?
Oh, look, the whole world's gone country right now, Bree, and I've got to say, you're rocking that hat. What is that hat that you're wearing?
This is especially designed by you, I hear.
That's right.
Can you tell us a bit about the design process?
We've sort of supercharged the hat, worked with the master hatters to improve the shape. So off the shelf, as you've probably been given it, it just looks incredible.
And there's a lot of people at the show rocking the Akubra, rocking the country style. Do you have any tips for how do you best rock the country aesthetic?
Oh, just do your thing, and but the hat's handy because not only do you look good in it, but it keeps the sun off your scone, which is important. I'm looking forward to singing some songs and meeting people today as well.
And if you can't get enough of the country feel at the show, this year they have a honky tonk bar, so there's plenty of options for you to get involved, and it'll feel like you're really out in country New South Wales.
Brianna Jackson there. Now, Sydney-siders continue to battle through a struggling housing market with rent prices continuing to soar. REA Group senior economist Anne Flaherty joins me now. Anne, thanks for coming in. House prices have hit a new high. We know that much. How has this affected rents?
Well, look, just like house prices have hit a record high, rents have likewise hit a new high, and we actually saw that the rate at which rents are rising picked up again in the first few months of the year.
Well, look, I'm looking at your figures here from the REA Group. It's at Brisbane, 8.3 over the last year. Adelaide, 8.2. Sydney at 4.2, a bit lower. Is that good news or bad for renters?
I mean, from a renter's perspective, the slower rents can grow, the better. But of course, even though we saw a slower rate of growth in Sydney, the rate of rent is so much higher there than the rest of the country. For a bit of perspective, a renter in Sydney on average is paying about $9,000 extra a year compared to Melbourne.
9,000. It's insane. I've seen a lot of predictions, though, about a potential massive drop in rental rates over this next year, particularly if we start to see interest rate cuts and people move from the renting market into buying their own properties. The Trump tariffs thing has thrown all of that into the air at the moment, but where are you seeing rents go in the next 12 months?
Look, unfortunately for renters, we don't see rents dropping this year. I think that even if we see more people able to exit the rental market and move into home ownership, the reality is that we aren't building anywhere close to enough homes at the moment. So across Australia, we had a shortfall of about 62,000 last year. And until we address this supply issue, both home values and rents are very likely to just continue growing upwards. OK, it's going to continue going up, but at different rates in different cities. Can you give us a bit of a perspective, particularly for those in Sydney that say, we can't do this anymore? Where would you look? What cities around the country are doing OK? Are there any? Well, Melbourne's actually the city where we're seeing pretty good affordability. It's actually the third cheapest capital city to buy a home, and it's the second cheapest capital city to rent in at the moment. This is due to the fact that the city has built a lot more new housing compared to a lot of the other states. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got markets like Perth and Brisbane, where we're seeing a massive shortfall in new housing built. We're seeing population growth far outstrip housing supply in those cities, and that's where we're seeing home prices and rents growing the most rapidly.
And that's why we're seeing it as the number one issue of this election campaign. All right, Anne Flaherty, appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, next up on 7's Afternoon News, the incredible arrest vision of a notorious former AFL agent, what he's accused of. And sport with Mel, Benji Marshall and Jerome Luai's response to claims the Tigers bullied Lockie Galvin. And the worst possible news confirmed from Matilda's superstar, Mary Fowler.
One teen in hospital, another injured in what's already been a horror year on our roads.
The news team that never stops.
They don't believe the woman who lives here was the intended target.
Both leaders are facing tough questions about Australia's security.
7 News.
$250 for the night.
Hold up. How?
It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from more than 100 booking sites, so you can save up to 30%.
Trivago is my secret tactic.
Hotel Trivago.
Get up to $200 in bill credits when you switch your electricity and gas to Engie Saver. Now that's pretty epic value. When you choose Engie, it's possible.
Buy any pack of Arnott Shapes and you could win the new Xbox Series X Digital Edition every day. Plus, there's 30,000 PC Game Pass prizes to be won instantly. Buy any pack of Arnott Shapes to enter.
Milo cereal. Crunch it up, slurp it up, mix it up.
At Aussie Broadband, we reckon there's more to the Aussie way than just this.
Like keeping your entire family better connected with Australia's most trusted telco. Even this little champion. Switch to fast internet now. That's Aussie Broadband. That's the actual Aussie way.
All right, we've got a lot of ground to cover. Heads down, spread out. Let's try and keep the line together. Okay, let's go.
I found it. Repeat, I have found it. We have found the hummus.
It's easy to find quality at Aldi because that's all we stock. Aldi, good different.
Tonight in 7 News, a death in Sydney's Legionnaire's outbreak, the symptoms and what to do if you've got them. Exclusive details on plans for Penrith. At 6, what it could look like. Exciting discovery why alien life really could exist. And we're on set with Tom Cruise, unprecedented access. 7 News at 6.
Well, Mel McLaughlin's here now with sport, and the Lockie Galvin saga rolls on, Mel.
It does, Reza, and we've heard from the club today. Benji Marshall and Jerome Luai denied bullying Galvin, who returned to training this morning for the first time since telling the club he's leaving. Luai says the subtle social media jabs he and Sunil Turuva made at Galvin were just emotional responses to the 19-year-old's impending exit.
I don't think he's been bullied by the other players. Emotional responses to things happening might seem like it, but there's been no sense of bullying at our club, and we don't stand for bullying.
It's been a bit messy, but things happen, and I think we've done a really good job on focusing on what we need to do this week.
Marshall says the call to drop Galvin was his and had nothing to do with the players. He says it's time for everyone to move on.
It's rugby league. The kid's going to move on. At the end of 2026, when he goes, the club will move on, and so will he. So let's just chill with all the that's coming his way and just let him play footy.
Galvin will be available for selection next week. Cameron Serraldo says tomorrow's Good Friday blockbuster against South is the next step in Canterbury's plan to become rugby league's biggest team. Up to 70,000 fans are expected to pack out Accor Stadium.
There were some tough times along the way over the last couple of years, but this is the vision we dreamed of, playing at big stadiums in front of big crowds.
I love the thought of that. The more people at the game, the greater the atmosphere, and there'll certainly be a lot of atmosphere there tomorrow.
Sure will. Matt Burton and Viliame Kikau are set to return for the unbeaten Bulldogs. Cody Walker is back for the Rabbitohs. Giant spearhead Jesse Hogan is in doubt to face the high-flying Crows on Saturday. Last year's Coleman medalist sat out training this morning with what AFL types like to refer to as general soreness.
He's been sore all week. It's not unnormal to see Jesse not train on a 6-day break, so he manages his body pretty carefully. If it gets to a point where we think it's a risk, we won't play him, but I don't think it'll be that.
The Swans injury crisis has deepened, with Harry Cunningham and Joel Armati out for up to 6 weeks. Lewis Melican and Logan McDonald are a chance to return against Port Adelaide on Sunday. Justin McInerney is back from suspension. The Matildas have suffered a devastating blow, with Mary Fowler facing up to a year on the sidelines. The star forward suffered a serious knee injury playing for Manchester City and needs a full reconstruction. The injury leaves Fowler in doubt for next year's Asian Cup on home soil beginning in March. Sam Kerr is yet to return to the pitch after major knee surgery in January last year. A 1-0 win over Singapore's Lion City Sailors last night wasn't enough to get Sydney FC through to the Asian Champions League 2 final. The Sky Blues lost the semi-final tie 2-1 on aggregate.
We gave our all. Could have scored more, should have scored more. Just devastated.
Yeah, he's right. Sydney FC had 2 goals ruled out by the VAR. Arsenal was a great crowd. Disappointing. In the 6 o'clock, more from the West Tigers. Willie Mace is in. There's still more to unpack.
Indeed there is. All right, talk to you then. Thank you. Now ahead on Sydney's Afternoon News on 7, a deadly disease gripping our CBD, what you need to know. The country music superstar headlining the Royal Easter Show. And we speak to the owners of Valerie, the sausage dog spotted on Kangaroo Island, who went missing 500 days ago.
Puppy paunch or fat cat? The groundbreaking new Australian study helping pet owners keep their best friend fit and healthy.
Plus, we have your Easter plans sorted.
Your ultimate guide to the long weekend, from affordable attractions to easy cooking ideas for the whole family.
Start with Sunrise on 7.
Mother's Day is a heart. My mum likes hearts. She always likes beautiful things. I think she'll like it. She loves me because she always kisses me. You are my heart. I love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day, Mum.
With Wise, you can send and spend money overseas with no hidden fees. And it could be up to 80% cheaper on average compared to using major banks. Visit wise.com or download the Wise app.
Ding, ding. Whether it's car, boat, caravan or home insurance, with NRMA Insurance, the more eligible policies you have, the more you could save, because that's what a help company would do. NRMA Insurance, a help company.
The BCFing Easter sale is here. Sit back in style and save $40 on this Wanderer cooler armchair. Now only $59.99. You beauty.
That BCFing feeling is BCFing fun.
Discover the award-winning Emerald Cruises luxury yacht experience and explore the cultures of the Mediterranean from $7,945 per person. Contact your travel advisor or visit emeraldcruises.com.au.
The money for Peter Dutton's $600 billion nuclear plan has to come from somewhere. So, 20 years to build, to make up under 4% of the grid, and the CSIRO says it will drive up power bills. And he'll have to drive up the cost of everything else to pay for it. So under Dutton, your health costs go up, under Dutton your tax goes up, under Dutton your HECS debt, childcare, medicines, TAFE fees go up. He cuts, you pay.
Authorised P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Chris Reason.
And welcome back. These are our top stories on 7. The Legionnaire's disease outbreak in our city turns deadly. A scathing report details what went wrong at the Northern Beaches Hospital. A notorious former AFL agent arrested for making threats to police. Exclusive pictures. The traditional Easter exit from Sydney already underway. And Lachie Galvin makes a surprise appearance at West Tigers training despite being dropped from first grade. A person has died after contracting Legionnaire's disease in Sydney's CBD. There are currently 12 confirmed cases who were exposed in late March or early April in the city and surrounds. Of those, 11 people have been hospitalised. Symptoms can develop up to 10 days after exposure. They include fever, chills, cough and shortness of breath. The fight over rival tax plans has intensified as the leaders prepare to back off election campaigning over the Easter break. Political reporter Tim Lester is with Liberal leader Peter Dutton.
Mr Dutton has visited the Hunter Valley and New South Wales Central Coast today. Here, a Wyong chocolate factory for Easter, petrol station number 11 for the campaign and a Hunter Region Trade College. There, he announced a $260 million commitment to build 12 technical colleges.
How's your shipping skills with fire?
They could be pretty average.
Oh!
I think that one's cut too far. And ramped up his attack on Labor's tax plans.
The Labor Party has always harboured a desire to abolish negative gearing, and their partners in crime, the Greens, are open about it as well.
Prime Minister Albanese not only denies it, but denies even getting formal advice on the possibility.
Anthony, your government has modelled negative gearing changes and CGT changes.
Well,
the Treasurer has done that.
Was it modelled? It certainly wasn't commissioned by us to do so.
It was modelled by the government. It was that's publicly available. This Prime Minister has a problem with the truth.
This as the Prime Minister met students in a well-known Brisbane pub, the Paddo. Labor attacking Peter Dutton after the Liberal leader claimed to want tax reforms that would overcome bracket creep.
Peter Dutton must think Australians are stupid. I mean, he is the only major political party leader that has taken to an election a policy to legislate higher income taxes on every single Australian taxpayer.
I've got an idea for him. How about he commit to not lifting them in the first place?
Mr Dutton says he wants voters discussing the possibility of a Labor Green government and the election campaign over the Easter break. Some might, others will want it well out of mind.
Tim Lester there. Now, one of the busiest days on the calendar is almost here and commuters are being urged to plan ahead this Easter long weekend. Joining me now is Transport for New South Wales Executive Director, Operations Management, Craig Moran. Craig, thanks for joining us. We know this is going to be a horrendously difficult time for travellers. What are you expecting this year? Worse than others? Better than others?
Well, Easter's traditionally a very busy time out on the road network, particularly people heading to the coastal areas of New South Wales and out west to the regional parts of the state. But I think with the Easter long weekend and the Anzac Day long weekend basically back-to-back, we are expecting to see quite heavy traffic conditions in some of those traditional pinch points up and down the coast.
And we know Sydney's got one of massive pinch point on the north at the moment, the Warringah Freeway, massive rebuilds going on there. What can you tell us about other pinch points around the city? How bad is it going to get? Just trying to get out of the metropolitan area.
Look, a couple of locations for people to be aware of, like you say, Chris, Warringah Freeway upgrade, ongoing works there. From Saturday through till Monday, there will be some major works at the Falcon Street interchange, so there will be delays for people heading along Military Road and Falcon Street. Also in the south, Heathcote Road, we're taking the opportunity of this quieter period during the school holidays to undertake some major works there. So Heathcote Road will be closed. There will be detours in place, but anybody heading to the south coast, consider using the Hume Highway and Appin and Picton Road instead.
Was it just while I've got you, was it madness to be doing these extra upgrades around the Warringah Freeway this weekend, given there's so many people trying to get out?
Look, the background traffic in Sydney is generally itself a little bit lower. It's really out in those regional areas up and down the coast on the Pacific Highway and Princess Highway where we see the most demand.
It's not just families trying to get out of Sydney. There's also some major events happening across Sydney too. Talk us through those. They're going to have their impact as well.
Oh, look, huge weekend out at Sydney Olympic Park. We're expecting around 170,000 people to be in the precinct. That's a combination of both people going to the Easter show, but also there's an NRL game out there. So very busy, but plenty of trains and special event buses to get you there and back home again.
What can families do? Tips and advice?
Look, the best advice for families going to the Easter show in particular, or going to the NRL, allow yourself plenty of extra time. There will be plenty of buses and train services, but it will be busy. So don't rush. Allow yourself plenty of time to make sure that you can get there and back home as safely as possible.
Craig Moran, great common sense tips there. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, Chris.
Now, for the third day in a row, shots have been fired at a home with a resident inside. This time, it was the violent escalation of a bitter neighbourhood dispute. Bill Hogan has the details.
Good afternoon. Well, a man is under police guard in hospital and is expected to be charged following a daylight shooting near Wollongong late yesterday. Police were called to the Avenue in Corrimal around 4 p.m. to find a 65-year-old man allegedly holding a rifle in the driveway before he dropped to the ground.
There's a rifle on the floor.
He allegedly used it to fire multiple shots into the window of a public housing unit, where inside Steve Hudson was ducking for cover.
I was thinking, like, what should I do? What should I do? Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or go? And next minute, boom, like two or three loud shots and shattering glass.
The 46-year-old and the alleged shooter have had a bitter dispute for several years, boiling over yesterday in front of frightened neighbours.
And I've been villainised and painted as a bad guy sort of thing, so hopefully now they can see that I'm just trying to live my life.
Police arrested the alleged gunman before taking him to hospital where he's being treated for injuries sustained during the ordeal.
They had him at gunpoint and had arrested him, and there was just a rifle sitting on the floor.
It's expected once he's well enough, detectives will bring him here to Wollongong Police Station where he will be charged with serious firearm offences.
Fallen AFL player agent Ricky Nixon is in custody this afternoon. He was threatening on social media to kill a Victorian police officer, and our cameras were there as he was arrested.
This is a disturbing new chapter in the colourful and controversial life of Ricky Nixon, and it happened this morning here in Bay Street, Port Melbourne, and he wasn't happy that our cameras were there to capture it. Police approached the 62-year-old after a series of shocking posts were made around 5 p.m. yesterday on Nixon's Facebook page. Specific, repeated threats to kill police.
Can I not do this in front of media? Can I walk over to your car and jump in it? No, we can't do that.
The post stated Nixon was going to Box Hill Police Station to find a particular officer who he named and kill him. He talked about it being his mission to leave as many as possible dead, and he made reference to the fact he's facing 10 charges of obtaining property by deception for selling fake footy memorabilia. He's contesting those charges. Yesterday's threats were later deleted from his Facebook page, questioned this morning, the infamous former AFL player-manager had a simple explanation.
For using the UK talking your device to harass. Understand? Threats to kill. My account was hacked. Your account was hacked? Yes. Yep, no worries. We'll speak to you at the station.
7 News was there exclusively as Nixon was handcuffed and taken into custody for questioning. No word yet on charges. And coming up at 6, see what happened when we approached Nixon before his arrest to ask him about those threats.
Well, she's captured hearts right around the globe, and now it's a waiting game for Valerie, the missing sausage dog, to be reunited with her owners in Albury. The miniature dachshund vanished in 2023 while her owners were camping on Kangaroo Island, South Australia. But the net is closing in on the elusive runaway. Here's Phoebe Worthley.
Good afternoon. Well, it's been an agonising 520 days for Valerie's owners to bring South Australia's four-legged fugitive home to Albury. The couple lost Valerie while camping on Kangaroo Island in November 2023.
Unfortunately, on the second day of our holiday, we left her for kind of 30 minutes in a pen with like all of her toys and all of her treats. But unfortunately, she managed to kind of escape her pen and ran off into the bushland.
Mr Fishlock and Ms Gardner thought their Valerie had vanished forever, making the heartbreaking call to return home empty-handed. 2 years later, Valerie the sausage dog had been spotted on camera. That's thanks to the efforts of Kangala Wildlife Rescue. The devious dachshund slipped away with search teams unable to remotely close the cage door, but the sighting is bringing some new hope to the Albury-based owners.
But to hear her being in the wild and for her to almost be coming home it's incredible. None of this would have been possible without their dedication and their support.
4 days away, a day back, 5 days away. She's come back again. So we've been down to the trap site just now. So we've been down, done that, and put out all sorts of treats all over the place for Valerie. And we're looking forward to seeing a little face come back into camera range today, hopefully.
Now, rescuers are trialling a new system to trigger the trap this week, hoping their efforts will pay off and bring this crafty canine's extended holiday to an end.
Well, we've got some breaking news now, and a home in Oyster Bay is fully alight with 6 trucks and 24 firefighters currently on the scene. There are no injuries reported as yet, and thankfully no one is believed to be inside. We'll have more on this breaking news in our 6 p.m. news. Well, up next on 7's Afternoon News, the scientists who think they might have found signs of life in space. And it's just 20 degrees in the Blue Mountains right now. We'll have your full forecast up soon.
Big news breaks in every street, in every suburb, every day.
7 News has been sent this exclusive vision.
When you see something Sydney needs to know about, share it with 7 News Sydney on email or text. 7 News Sydney, live at 6.
Oh, you're in the big leagues now.
How was your vacations there?
Oh, I needed one.
With your 10% loyalty program discount, that's $330 for the night.
Not bad.
$250 for the night.
Hold up. How?
It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from more than 100 booking sites, so you can save up to 30%.
Trivago is my secret tactic.
Hotel Trivago.
At HCF, we're all about giving members value. Over the last 10 years, we've paid out more benefits for every dollar paid in premiums than the industry average.
Paid another benefit.
I love it. Plus, we've won CanStar's Outstanding Value Health Insurance Award 9 years running. Yep, we're all about members, not shareholders.
Why would you want shareholders when you can have pin holders?
Well, that's very useful. Thank you, Gary.
The money for Peter Dutton's $600 billion nuclear plan has to come from somewhere. So, 20 years to build, to make up under 4% of the grid, and the CSIRO says it will drive up power bills. And he'll have to drive up the cost of everything else to pay for it. So under Dutton, your health costs go up, under Dutton your tax goes up, under Dutton your HECS debt, childcare, medicines, TAFE fees go up. He cuts, you pay.
Authorised P. Erickson, ALP Canberra.
New Britain's Got Talent tonight.
One teen in hospital, another injured in what's already been a horror year on our roads.
The news team that never stops.
They don't believe the woman who lives here was the intended target.
Both leaders are facing tough questions about Australia's security.
7 News.
Scientists are reporting they've found strong evidence pointing to life on another planet. On an exoplanet named K2-18b, they've detected 2 gases in the atmosphere that can only be produced by living organisms, things like marine phytoplankton or algae.
The only scenario that explains all of this is one where it's a Haitian world that is teeming with life. And what is a Haitian world? It's an ocean-covered surface with a thin hydrogen-rich atmosphere.
Now, the planet sits in the habitable zone, orbiting a red dwarf star 124 light years from Earth. We're taking a look at finance news, and the local share market has finished the holiday shortened week higher. Here's James Tao from ING Bank.
Good afternoon. The local market shrugged off a weak lead from a tech-led sell-off on Wall Street overnight. The ASX 200 managed to rise by 60 points, or 0.8%, lifting for the third time in the past 4 days. It was the resources sectors in energy and materials which really outperformed on rising commodity prices. Our largest listed miner, BHP, reported record copper and iron ore production over the past 9 months, as announced in a quarterly update. BHP shares ended the day 1% higher. There are a number of companies providing quarterly updates to the market, including Santos, which added about 3% as it maintained its full-year production forecasts, while wealth management firm Challenger jumped 10%, having updated its full-year guidance ahead of the market's estimates. Meanwhile, the Aussie dollar eased back following the release of today's March jobs data. It's now buying about 63.4 US cents.
Well, Sydney's 6 p.m. news is coming up with Angela Cox and Mark Ferguson. Ange, what have you got on the program?
Hello, Chris. Lots happening this afternoon. Here's what we'll have for you tonight. A damning report into the trouble-plagued Northern Beaches Hospital reveals the current government had the option to take over control years ago, but didn't. At 6, the fallout and what it means for the future of the hospital. More on Sydney's Legionnaire's outbreak that's turned deadly, where you could have picked it up, and the symptoms to watch out for. Exclusive developments in the hunt for a Maryland sex predator. New clues on his movements moments before an 83-year-old woman was attacked. Also, only in Australia, a kangaroo hops into a country pub, upsetting a lovely ladies' lunch. It's chaos, but it does have a happy ending. We're on set with Tom Cruise. 7 News given unprecedented access to what promises to be one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. And Lachlan Galvin back with his teammates after telling them he wants out of the Tigers. The drama from that and plenty more in 7 News at 6. Chris.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Ange. Now, one of the most popular rides at the Royal Easter Show is now being investigated by Safe Work New South Wales. The slingshot ride was inspected by safety officials after seatbelts were found to be broken. They've since been repaired. It's been a big day at the Easter Show with country music star Lee Kernaghan headlining. Well, next in 7's afternoon news, Amber is here with your local forecast.
Good afternoon, Andrea Pranemo here in the Allcastle Homes Traffic Centre. Now, we're already seeing very heavy holiday traffic on the M1 northbound. That's from Mount Ku-ring-gai all the way towards Calgar. Also slowing up if you're heading to the Sydney Royal Easter Show at Sydney Olympic Park. Just a reminder, double demerits currently in force. Allcastle's Grand West Dynasty has 2 entrances, ideal for modern day living with balcony up to 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms and more. allcastlehomes.com.au.
B2P? Caruso's Prostate Ease Max to the rescue. Caruso's Prostate Ease Max has been clinically shown to relieve nighttime urinary frequency by over 39% in men medically diagnosed with benign prostatic hypertrophy, also known as enlarged prostate. Caruso's Prostate Ease Max also comes with a money-back guarantee. So if you want to sleep more and pee less, try Caruso's Prostate Ease Max. Available from leading pharmacies and health stores.
Ita Buttrose here on behalf of Compact Home Lifts. Did you know that Compact Home Lifts has helped thousands of Australians to keep living in the home they love? Whether you have an immediate need or simply want to future-proof your home, Compact Home Lifts has the perfect solution for you. you can have confidence when choosing compact home lifts. Just look at the hundreds of 5-star reviews on Google. Call the team now for a free quote or visit compactlifts.com.au.
It's the world's #1 game.
I know how to win.
With the brightest brains.
Think you can take me on? Come on.
There can only be one best ever.
Play along and see if you can beat the best. The Chase. Next up.
Tonight in 7 News, a death in Sydney's Legionnaire's outbreak, the symptoms and what to do if you've got them. Exclusive details on plans for Penrith. At 6, what it could look like. Exciting discovery why alien life really could exist. And we're on set with Tom Cruise, unprecedented access. 7 News at 6.
Holiday season has come early for this special Joey. The Symbiote Wildlife Park helps one of its rarest residents, Olaf the albino wallaby Joey, celebrate his very first Easter. While chocolate was off the menu, it didn't stop the youngster foraging for some of his favourite treats. Amber is back with the forecast now. Amber, how's the long weekend shaping up?
Looking nice and sunny, Chris, and it is set to warm up too. Right now in the city, currently hovering around 21 degrees after that top of 24 recorded just before 1:30 p.m. If we take a look now at the satellite image, and there is a ridge of high pressure extending over the state today, which is promoting generally fine conditions, and that is set to persist into the weekend. Though this ex-tropical cyclone that's still hovering over the Tasman is going to generate hazardous surf conditions along the state's coast, with warnings in place over the coming days. Now, beyond that, a cold front and associated trough are due to cross the southern half of the state over the weekend. That's going to bring some showers and also some storms forecast to reach us here in Sydney sometime on Monday at this stage. But if we take a look around the capitals tomorrow for the first day of the long weekend, 28 degrees under clear skies tomorrow in Brisbane, cloud clearing, and 26 in Canberra, 30 degrees and mostly sunny down in Melbourne. Mostly sunny also in Adelaide, a shower or two on the way for Hobart, tops of 23. 23 also in Perth under partly cloudy skies, partly cloudy, and 33 tomorrow in Darwin. Meanwhile, here in Sydney, mostly sunny skies are forecast. Only light winds expected after dawn too. 25 degrees is the forecast top in the CBD. Slightly warmer in the west, reaching 27 under clear skies. Then temperatures soar as we head into the weekend, reaching 29 to 30 degrees on Saturday, 29 to 31 degrees on Sunday. We are expecting plenty of sunshine, with those showers not forecast to arrive until sometime during Monday, and then those showers persist right through to later next week at this stage. But until then, conditions are looking pretty good. Chris will have the latest long weekend forecast at 6.
We'll take that. All right. Thank you, Amber. That is our 4 p.m. news for this Thursday. Your next bulletin, of course, is 7 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Chris Reason. Stay with 7 now for the Chase Australia, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Stay up to date this election anywhere you go with the 7 News app. Your unstoppable election coverage is on